Hey guys, how you doing? Well, I'm doing okay, aside from being hot. I think because it's supposed to be like 100 here, so I'm pretty hot and sweaty because of the heat. Now, I noticed that not many people viewed the last video I did of Center Bag. Okay. Probably, I think, I'm not going to speak for them, because only they can speak for them. I think everybody, all of you, may not have liked that title that I gave it, because it's possible you guys may have thought that I was minimizing that chant. And I guess everything is up for interpretation. The Bible could be interpreted, and of course the news could be interpreted, a speech could be interpreted, and a video title can be interpreted in many different ways, So, some of you, or maybe many of you, probably felt a little offended by my writing Center Bag. I was only trying to make a point, and that is that everybody's making a big news thing about a chant at a rally. Okay. Center Bag, send her back. Okay, I'll go over that in a minute. But I just wanted, I want to do some homework here. And I wanted to research this. Because I support President Trump. And I support a lot of things he's doing. And I really got to know the man from his speeches, his interviews, his meetings, and pretty much the way he conducts himself. He reminds me a little bit of my dad, And I know he's not a racist. He is not a racist. If he were a racist, he would not be so proud of the fact that so many blacks and Hispanics are at the lowest number of the unemployment that it's ever been. Okay. Now, like I said, I did some research because, he said, that he didn't like that chant. He disagreed with it because of the way it sounded. But I also wanted to take a look at that tweet itself. So, I looked it up. Now, I wrote this down, and I'm trying to read my own handwriting. Some of my own handwriting I can't read. It's hard to read my own handwriting. But I just wanted to see what this whole storm of controversy about a tweet and a chant is all about. Okay? And from a man who doesn't have a racist thought in his mind or in his heart. You hear that, AOC? Maybe the statement, he doesn't have a racist bone in his body, may be a little bit outdated and maybe inaccurate. So maybe we should change it to, instead of every bone in your body, to every thought in your mind and your heart. I think that's more accurate. Now, I looked it up. Okay, so I'm going to read my notes, so please forgive me if I'm not looking at you guys, okay? Half the time I'm not looking at you, and that was not intentional. It's just out of habit. But I'm trying to do better. Okay. The tweet, this is the tweet. Word for word, okay? Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came, and then come back and show me how to do it. Okay, I'll read that one more time. Okay, one more time I'll read it. Because it took a long time for me to get a hold of this. Because, you know, the internet are very censoring a lot of stuff. And they're just pulling stuff down, including President Street. Because it took me a little bit of time to get a hold of this. Because I think all the internet platforms are pulling it, okay, because it's so offensive. So it took a little time for me to get it, but once I got it, okay. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came, and then come back and tell me how to do it? That was the tweet. It said nothing about countries. Nothing about countries. He didn't say go back to your country. You know, he didn't say that. He didn't say go back to your country. It said go back. Now, they are in Washington right now. They came to Washington, actually. They came from the districts. Okay? And they were voted to Washington. Now, I remember when there was a changing of the guard in Congress, and they were talking about how some of the congressmen and women who who lost a continuation, that they would now have to pack up and leave Washington and go back to where they came from, whatever city they came from. Okay, they're now no longer. If you represent Indiana, okay, like Mike Pence did, right? Mike Pence was, I don't know if he was a governor or senator, I forget. But for years I knew of his name, just didn't know the capacity. I knew he was a big guy in Indiana, my state, right? Well, the state I'm in right now. Okay. So he was in Indiana. Then he left Indiana to go to Washington to be Trump's vice president. So now he's in Washington, D.C. And when Trump's tenure is done, Mike Pence will go back to where he came from, to Indiana. Okay? Now, because the tweet said nothing about country, and everyone from CNN, and the Squad, and everybody on that side of the aisle adds the word country, just like they add the word white to nationalist. They love to change statements, twist it around to make it to something different than what was intended and what was written or spoken. So when Trump said, I'm a nationalist, one of the reporters at a press conference said, do you think that that would be a buzzword for white nationalists? That you want to say white nationalist, but you don't want to say that? So you're using the word nationalist in its place. But in your heart and in your mind, you mean white nationalist. And then he said, that's offensive. That's offensive to me. Be quiet. I don't like that, because they're twisting his words. They're putting words into his mouth. It's happened to you. It's happened to me. When someone puts words in your mouth, they add something to something you've said or written to make it seem like you said something you really didn't. And that's what the press is doing to Trump all the time. It's happened to me. When people put words in my mouth. And I said, wait a minute, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Don't you say I said that. Don't put words in my mouth. I didn't say that. I said this. You think I said that. But I didn't say that. I'm saying this, which is different than that. Okay, it's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you guys. When somebody changes what you say or write to make it seem like you're saying something else. So in his tweet, Trump said nothing about country. Nothing about country. And he said, go back to your country. He didn't say that. He didn't, as if he didn't say other words along with that. Okay, why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? Not countries. Not countries. Places. And come back and tell me how you fix the problem. That's all Trump was saying. That's all he was saying. He wasn't saying leave the country, because they're complaining about the country, right? And he's doing his best as president to fix the problems that we have. And these 4 members of Congress are so upset about the way Trump is running the country. You hate our country, you hate the flag. I said, okay, you have so much hate and disgust in your heart for our country. But part of our country are the cities that you came from to come to Washington. So they're in Congress, they're in Washington, D.C., and they refuse to come up with rules and legislate laws that we can fix the problem. So Trump is not saying leave our country and go back to your country. He's saying leave Washington and go back to where you came from, the cities that you came from, fix the problems, and then come back and tell me how to fix them. Now, he didn't say leave Washington. He didn't say go back to your cities. Because there are some words some people don't feel need to be said. Because it would be understood. There's some people like that. Matter of fact, some misunderstandings could happen when somebody says something and it's misinterpreted and says, oh, is that the way it sounded? I didn't mean it the way it sounded. Let me try and say it a little differently. We do that all the time because not everybody understands what we're saying and the meaning behind what we're saying. So he didn't think he needed to say leave Washington. He might have thought it was obvious that he meant leave Washington and go back to your cities. You know, maybe he didn't feel he needed to say that. So these are a whole bunch of maybes. And what the press does, what the media does, is they change it around to what they think he means. Just like when Kamala Harris says, we have a president who says, make America great again. What does he mean by that? He did say that in 2016, but he ain't saying that no more. He's saying keep America great. But she, in her rally, I guess, was it, does he mean go back before civil rights? Does he mean before women have, you know, it's all about interpretation. It's all about interpretation. If she paid attention, she would see what he meant. Meant. Not means. He's not saying that no more. He's now saying keep America great. Which means we have achieved what he set out for. So what you're looking at is what he meant by make America great again. Because he's saying keep America great. That means you don't have to make it if you got to keep it, right? If you got to keep it, doesn't mean you got to make it because you've already made it. Now let's keep it that way. That's the whole meaning by the word keep. So, like I said, why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken crime-infested cities? Not cities, I'm sorry. See, I made that mistake too. That was wrong. See that? I put in a word he didn't say. And I was wrong in doing that, and so were they wrong in doing that. They said countries, I said cities. He didn't say that. He said places. So, I admit I was wrong. I apologize. That is not right. To change somebody's quote or tweet. Okay. Now, I did some research because I wanted to see exactly how crime infested and broken their cities are. So, AOC. Okay. AOC is from New York. And I think we all know New York is a disaster area. Full of crime. MS-13 gang members are in there. De Blasio is doing a thing. You know, and of course AOC kept New Yorkers from getting jobs with Amazon. But she was not from the Bronx. My cousin could have vouched for that. My cousin, who lives where AOC originally came from, can vouch for that. She's not from the Bronx. She's from Upper Westchester County. And everybody knows that. So there's a lie right there. But let's say she means the Bronx. Okay, let's say she really did come from the Bronx. Okay? When I was still living in the Bronx, and this is in the 1970s and 80s, because my mom and my dad were born and went to high school in the Bronx. Now, they remember a time where living in the Bronx and even living in Harlem were nice. But they're not nice places anymore. And I remember one night after work, and my dad was driving us home. Instead of going by West Side Highway or Riverside Drive, he decided to shoot down Broadway, go through Harlem, and go through the Bronx. And this was my first time seeing what the Bronx was all about. Hey, this is my mom and dad's old neighborhood. And when we got into the Bronx, Dad said to me, lock your doors. Lock your doors and be alert. I says, okay. And so I locked my door. He locked his. And I kept looking around while we were going through the Bronx, making sure no one was approaching us to carjack, us. Or, who knows what else. Okay, so already from years ago, okay, the Bronx was bad. It was a bad place, very bad place. And you should avoid it at all costs. So, there you go. There you go. AOC, why didn't you go back to your district? Go back to where you came from, which is what's in Detroit. Okay. The places and fix the problems. It's all broken and crime infested. Now, that's AOC. What about reading my handwriting and also trying to trying to pronounce their names. Okay. Rashida Tlaib. Okay. Rashida Tlaib came from Detroit. Now, I've been hearing a lot of bad stories about Detroit. And Detroit used to be a very big place where they made cars. So it's probably a very prosperous city at one time. But apparently it's not that way anymore. But I looked it up. Okay. In Detroit, there were, in the year of 2016, 303 murders. And in 2017, there were 267 murders. So in a 2-year time, there were over 560 murders in 2 years. Also, as I looked it up, violent crime is 2,057 per 100,000 people. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot. Violent crime, the violent crime, someone will be a victim of violent crime. 2,057 victims out of per 100,000. So out of 200,000, double it. 2,057 per 100,000 people will be a victim of violent crime. And Detroit has been noted as being the second highest crime-infested city in the United States. Second. The second highest crime-infested city. So, Trump could be saying, and I believe he was, Rashida Tlaib, go back to Detroit and fix your crime-infested and broken city. And then come back and tell me how you did it. Because I want to learn. I want to see how you fix the problem. Okay. Now, Presley. Presley came from Cincinnati, Ohio. And I thought Ohio was a very nice state. It was very nice to drive through. I didn't think there was any crime going on, not even any real high crime. But I looked it up. And it says what I learned. Cincinnati, for every 100,000 people, there are 16.43 daily crimes per 100,000. Daily. Every day. So there's every day per 100,000 people, there are 16.3 daily victims of crime. And you have a 1 in 17 chance of being a victim. 1 in 17. Now we're talking a big population of a big city. Okay, Cincinnati is a big city. I imagine it is. I never went around there. I always drove through it. But I've always heard about Cincinnati. Always figured it was a big city. And I guess it is. I don't know. But it says here, and you can look this up on the internet because I did. And it says, you have a 1 in 17 chance of being a victim of a violent crime in Cincinnati. And this is where Presley is from. So Trump may be saying to Presley, why don't you go back to Cincinnati, to your crime-infested, broken city, fix it, and then come back to Washington and tell me how you fixed it. That could be what he meant. That could be what he meant. And I think that is what he meant. But I don't know. I'm not inside his head. But I got to know the man. pretty much, not very well, by seeing them. Okay? But you always give the reasonable doubt. Okay? Give, probable doubt, whatever it is, of everything that they're saying about how they're interpreting what the tweet means and what he meant by it. Okay, now, Omar. Okay, Omar is from Somalia. Okay, I looked up Somalia. And in 2018, there have been 2,018 violent crimes. I don't think I read exactly what, per day, per week, per year, I don't know. But that's what it said. I guess I didn't write the rest of it down. But what I wrote down is 2,018 violent crimes, which includes assassinations, murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery. And assassinations, murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery has been recorded as a common problem in the city of Cincinnati. Okay? It's common. Now that is terrible. That is terrible that assassinations, murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery is common in your city. Okay? So you, Miss Presley, you are safe in Washington from all the crime in your home city of Cincinnati. So now you're away from all that crime, and maybe Trump was saying to you, why don't you go back to Cincinnati? Why don't you fix your crime situation? Why don't you fix all of that? And then after you fix it, come back and tell me how you did it. Because I want to learn. Okay? Now, I'm sorry. That was Somalia. I goofed. Okay. Alright, so that's where she came from. Alright. So, forget Cincinnati. Scratch that verse. Nah. I didn't mean that. Okay? I got this confused. Sorry. Okay. So that's in Somalia. That's in Somalia. Which could be why she left Somalia and wanted to emigrate to the United States, because it's not safe in Somalia where there's assassinations. See, that makes sense to me. Okay? Assassinations. What assassinations in Cincinnati? That doesn't make sense. Right? So I goofed. I gapped. Okay? That was... got that wrong. Okay, forget that. Not Cincinnati. Somalia. Somalia, it is common. See, that makes sense to me. Of violent crime, of assassinations, murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery is common in Somalia, and that's why she left. But she's from Minneapolis. Minneapolis, by the way, that had a recent anti-Semitic attack on a synagogue when someone painted a swastika on a sign of, I don't know, some Jewish event or a Jewish community center or something like that. Saw the report on that, where somebody spray painted a swastika on a Jewish sign or something like that. So we know that Omar, who has been outwardly anti-Semitic, that happened on a synagogue. Okay. Minneapolis is the city that Mary Tyler Moore worked at the newsroom. Okay. But I guess that city ain't like that no more. Because, and I gotta, round this up. Minneapolis, there are 1,063 reports of violent crime for every 100,000 people. Okay. In Minneapolis, where Omar is from, 1,063 reports of violent crime for every 100,000 people. Okay? And Minneapolis, according to what I read, has been noted as one of the most dangerous cities in the United States. I didn't say that. It's out there. You can look it up. Like I looked it up. Okay? One of the most dangerous cities. It happens to be the city from where Omar is from, and left to come to Washington. So maybe Trump meant, why don't you go back to Minneapolis and fix the crime in your city so it's no longer one of the most dangerous cities in the United States. That would be wonderful if you could do that. Go back there. Go back to Minneapolis. Go back there. Fix that problem. Stop the crime. Stop all that stuff. And then come back and tell me how you did it. Because I want to learn. And the poverty level, and this I also learned, the poverty level in Minneapolis, where Omar's from, is at 22.6%. So Minneapolis, where Omar's from, they got a pretty significant poverty. People are in poverty in the city that she came from. So let's round this up. Trump said, why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? That means go back to New York, go back to Cincinnati, go back to Minneapolis, go back to Detroit. I believe that's what President Trump meant. But I don't know. So when they were chanting, send her back, maybe they were meaning, why don't you pack her stuff up, get her out of Washington, get her out of Congress, and send her back to Minneapolis so she can help fix the crime problem in Minneapolis. Maybe that's what Trump meant. But I don't know. All we could do is guess. But I didn't like the way the press, I don't like the way, mainstream media is, interpreting everything, and I keep hearing, send them back to their country, It's racist, it's this, it's that. It's the most terrible thing you ever said, you shouldn't have said it. And that's why I said, you know what, there's so much talk, about this one tweet out of so many. And I don't feel that Trump would be tweeting something racist, or something that came right out of the 1950s about black people. Go back to Africa, It doesn't seem consistent. And that's why I want to do some homework on it and see exactly what the tweet really was, and where these congresswomen came from. Because I saw just today, when they aired the tweet, when they put it up on the screen, and I was reading it, and the word places caught my eye. I said, wait a minute. Did I see what I thought I saw? I saw the word places, not countries, places. Because it was like, but Trump is so stupid. There's only one person who was not born in the United States, And he said they should all go back to their own countries. So I said, huh? What? That can't be right. And that's why I want to check it. And I'm glad I did. Because the tweet really was, why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? That means New York. That means Detroit. That means Cincinnati. And that means Minneapolis. Those are the places where they came from. Leave Washington, go back to those cities, fix the problem, then come back and tell me how you did it. Yeah, they're shouting bad things about Israel and Jews and our country. Yes, that is true. But take this tweet in its entirety as it is and how it stands. And it's not connected to anything else. I don't know. That's my thought on it. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. My little notes. Okay? Here are my notes. Upside down. You know. Oh, maybe it's backwards. I guess. I don't know. Sorry about that. Anyway. So, I hope you don't misinterpret how I labeled that last video of set her bag. Because a chant is a chant. You know, knock 'em dead, knock 'em dead. Oh my God, they're encouraging somebody to kill somebody. Hell, they're in a sport, for crying out loud. They're playing basketball, they're playing hockey, whatever it is, and they're shouting, knock 'em dead, knock 'em dead. They're shouting for murder. Call the police. They're done crazy. It's a chant. And he didn't like what they said. Yeah, maybe they shouldn't have said it. But you can't control what other people say. And maybe send her back. I don't know. Maybe Trump thought. I don't know what Trump thought. He said he didn't like it. He disagreed with it. That's good enough for me. In a way, he's apologizing. And maybe in everything else that he's saying, he's saying, you know what? I'm hearing you. I'm hearing what you're saying. And maybe I shouldn't have said that. I didn't think in those terms. If this is how it sounds, I apologize. That was not what I meant. Which means he's human. Right? Okay, anyway. That's all the time I have. That's really all I wanted to say. So, take care. I hope you found my homework and research interesting. Because I wanted to, sort of figure this out and set the record straight. Who knows? I might be the only one who thought of this. And I'm saying, let's take a look at that tweet. And, let's see where they're from. And that's what I looked up. If other people thought of that too, great. If I'm the only one who thought of that, hey, at least I did homework for you and gave you valuable information that I learned about the places where they are from. Not countries. Places. That's exactly how he tweeted. Fix the problems. Go back to the places from where you came from. So, on that note, I will say goodbye for now. Okay. Hope you liked it. If you like it, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you soon. Okay? Take care.